It was a beautiful morning. The sun was rising, the surf was perfect, and Bethany Hamilton and a couple of her friends grabbed their surfboards and dove into the waves. After catching a couple great waves, Bethany was a little off by herself. One of her friends was there, and her friend's father was just a ways off, and she was just waiting for that next set of waves to come in, when all of a sudden she got hit by a truck. Something knocked her off her board, and she just felt herself being shook super hard. It felt like a sledgehammer just bashed into the side of her body. And then she heard this loud pop or a snap, and she came up and realized that her arm was missing. She rolled onto her surfboard, called for help. Her friend and her friend's father paddled over to her as fast as they could. They grabbed the bungee that kind of connects your ankle to the surfboard. They wrapped it around her to try to stop the hemorrhaging, the blood that was just gushing out, and they paddled her in to shore. As soon as they got to shore, they tried to elevate her head. They elevated her feet. They called 911. The ambulances came as fast as they could because Bethany's life was in grave, grave danger. You see, what had happened was a tiger shark had ambushed her and had bitten off her arm. Well, fortunately, the ambulance arrived in time. Bethany went to emergency surgery. They were able to get her the blood that she needed to stop the bleeding, but her arm was gone. Now, Bethany was, 16, 15 at this time, a beautiful young woman. Her goal was to win surfing championships. She'd already competed in some surf competitions. She had such a bright future in front of her. And when people looked at her broken body and saw that her arm was missing, they knew she would never surf again. But they did not know that Bethany Hamilton's strength wasn't in her body, having all of her arms and legs. It was in her heart. And very soon after her arm was healed, she went back out in the water and she stood on a surfboard and she learned how to surf all over again, this time without that extra arm to keep her balanced. And people wondered, how can you go back out there in the waves? I mean, that shark, it could still be there. How do you not be so afraid? And Bethany knew the secret to overcoming her fears was focusing on the thing that she loved. She loved surfing. She loved the ocean. She loved that feel of just riding that wave. And when she was out there, she wouldn't allow herself to think about what might be in the shadows or what was just behind her. Because if she thought about the shark or even the possibility of a shark, the fear would choke her and she wouldn't be able to surf. But if she focused on the waves, if she focused on finding the right one, if she focused on her balance, then the fear would never overcome her. Bethany went on to win surf championships. If you Google Bethany Hamilton, you'll find out that she's a mom now. She's happily married. She's a Christian witness. She talks about her faith, and she still likes to surf. Man, fear. It's everywhere. All of us have had those moments where we're just minding our own business, doing our own things, and then all of a sudden, some kind of a shark, some kind of a tragedy, it's bam, nails us. And it breaks us. And when we come out of the tragedy, whether it's a sickness or an economic turndown or a relationship blowing up, we realize that we're not the same person we were before it happened. We're missing something. And the temptation is to focus on our missing arm. It's to focus on what we lost when the shark took us under. And many times we get stuck there. And we turn into the victim who demands that other people meet our needs. We jump into the blame game, and we blame the shark, and we blame our friends, and we blame the circumstances. And when we go down that very easy path, we don't take the path that leads us to do what we love. You see, I believe Bethany Hamilton was made to surf. Her family surfed. She lived in Kauai. She was surrounded by the surfing culture. She was great at it. And I believe you're made to do something. And you probably will tell me, I don't know what that thing is. I don't know. But deep down, you know what makes you come alive. That's what you're built to do. And Satan knows that if you do the thing that you're supposed to do, you're going to make this world a little bit of a better place. So he has ambushed you and he's attacked you with these ideas that, hey, you're missing an arm. You can't do that thing. If you do that thing that you're supposed to do, you won't be able to make any money. If you do that thing you're supposed to do, people won't love you. If you do that thing you're supposed to do, you will come to the end of your life filled with regrets. And those are all lies. So instead of focusing on your brokenness and focusing on the unfairness of life and focusing on the shark or your fears, focus on that thing that you love. Do it. Take little steps working towards that thing that makes you come alive. You see, the Bible says if we delight ourselves in God, he'll give us the desires of our hearts. And what I think that verse means, it's not a good luck charm verse where like, oh, if I say a certain prayer, God will give me a new car. I think it means that if we align ourselves, heart, mind, body, soul, towards God, then we're automatically moving in the right direction. You see, the Greek word for sin is hamartia, and it's an archery term that means missing the mark. And the crazy thing about archery, I used to teach archery in summer camp, it's that there's so many ways to miss the mark. You could just not pick up a bow and arrow. Don't even try. You could aim at another person instead of the target and hurt someone. Your form could be just not right and you could miss the bullseye. There's so many ways to get it wrong. But if you're aiming for that bullseye and you're trying as hard as you can to hit that bullseye and you practice over and over and over, guaranteed one day you're going to hit that bullseye. Guaranteed, if you keep up that practice, pretty soon hitting that bullseye is going to happen more and more and more. And just because you can't hit the bullseye the first couple of times does not mean you throw down the bow and arrow. It for sure doesn't mean you start aiming at other people around you. You see, aiming at the bullseye, that's the straight and narrow. That's the Jesus is the way. That's the love your neighbor as yourself. And yeah, you're not going to get it right today. Yeah, we're going to mess it up. But man, if we aim that direction, we'll realize that's what we were built to do. We'll find that same flow feeling that Bethany Hamilton feels when she surfs. And we'll be like, wow, this is amazing. So today, friends, I just want to encourage you to let go of your fears, to aim that thing you love, to aim at that God who is good. And then you'll truly begin to live. God bless.